Hi and welcome back to Lisa's Stamp Studio. I'm Lisa Curcio. Today's card is revolving around the So Santa stamp set. Whether you like a tropical holiday or you like Santa with a different flair, this stamp set's got a little bit of everything for everyone and some really cute greetings. You'll find it in the holiday catalog. Here's the card we're going to be making today. We're going to be using some geometric circles to create a really fun focal point, and we're going to be using Stampin' Right markers just to change things up a bit. I'll have a link in the description of this video below, taking you to the pictures, the cutting dimensions, and supplies for today's card for those of you visiting here from YouTube. Let's head over to the stamp table and let's get started. Here's a good close-up of our Santa card that we're going to be creating today. I live in Florida, so a tropical Santa card is always welcomed here. Let's go ahead and take a quick look at that stamp set. Lots of cute greetings in here. This one's on a little scooter, and we've got our baker Santa here, and of course our surfboard Santa. And there's greetings for both the inside and outside of your cards, and there's a couple smaller images here for borders or for your envelopes. I'm going to start with a piece of Whisper White cardstock, and I'm going to use Memento ink. And I've already mounted my little surfboard Santa here, so we're going to go ahead and ink him up. Make sure you travel across your ink pad so that you've got even coverage. I always like to look and make sure I don't have ink around my edges. And since we're going to punch him out, he can go right here in the center. I want to make sure that I have enough room to get that punch around him. I'm going to be using the Stampin' Right markers today for a change and color him in. So I'm going to pick the Petal Pink to color in his flesh areas. This is really a great flesh tone, and it gives him a little bit of a rosy look. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to work around here and just color it in. The one thing about Stampin' Right markers, unlike Stampin' Blends, which are an alcohol base, is you're going to want to be careful that if you go over an area or repeat it, that you know you're going to have some depth in your coloring, which is fine because my Santa is going to be out in the sun, so he's going to have a little definition to the shades of his skin. And then I'm going to go ahead and color in the rest of his chest here. Then we'll work down here on his legs. The Ivory Stampin' Blends is a perfect flesh tone, and you can certainly use that in conjunction with the markers. So if I wanted to, I could have used the ivory for his flesh here. I'm going to skip over now to the Mango Melody. I'm going to add a little bit of definition to his shorts where the flowers are. I'm going to also color in the umbrella to his little drink. Come in with the Crumb Cake marker, and I'm going to add some color to that pineapple cup. And down here with our starfish, I'm going to add a little color here beneath his feet for the sand. The Stampin' Right markers are dual-ended, so this end with the thin line is the thin tip. Initially intended for writing, signing, or journaling if you're a scrapbooker. This end has a thicker tip like a brush for marker, and that's what I've been using. For these little tiny leaves, though, I think I'm going to switch over to the chiseled end, the pen end, and I'll be able to get in there a lot easier. I'm going to switch over now to the Granny Apple Green, and we're going to color in the background of his shorts. I'm going to start working on the surfboard. I'm going to alternate colors just to get some definition here. I'm going to turn my paper, making it easier for my hand. I'm going to go back to my mango, and I'm going to add just a couple little accent lines. So I'm going to work one inside of here, and I'll do another stripe just randomly on this board just to bring in a little bit of extra color. I'll switch back to the shaded spruce, and I'll fill in those other areas. My next step for his hair is going to be the Clear Wink of Stella. I wanted to add a little bit of shimmer to him, so I'm going to go ahead and pull off the cap. This is kind of a shimmery, glittery pen. It doesn't leave the mess that glitter leaves behind. It's really easy to use, so you can just kind of brush it on. I am doubtful that this is going to be picked up really well in the video, but you're just going to have to take my word for it. It really works well, and it dries very, very quickly because it does have an alcohol base. I dabbed a little bit on those eyebrows there. And if you let it dry, you can always come back and add additional coats if you want a little bit more shimmer. I'm going to use the 2-inch circle punch. I'm going to come up from the top and center that the very best that I can. I can see that I'm not able to get in all the way because my cardstock's a little bit bigger than I need. So I'm going to grab my scissors and I'm going to cut away just a little bit here at the bottom so that I'm able to reach in just a little bit further. Just center that image where I want it, and I'll punch that out. While I have this punch out, I'm going to take the shaded spruce cardstock and I am going to punch 3 circles here. These are going to be for the layers behind the designer series paper. This designer series paper is definitely tropical. This comes from the Tropical Escape Designer Series paper stack, and I wanted to show you these patterns. Aren't these fun? So we've got real tropical finishes on the front, and then I'm going to flip them over. These are double-sided with Stampin' Up, which means you're going to really get a lot of use out of these with different patterns. So I'm going to go ahead and flip those over. The color palette in this designer series paper is what helped me to choose the colors that I was going to color my image. And you can see that these are going to work really well for all occasion cards throughout the years, those that don't have a very discriminative pattern on them. This is the Tropical Escape Designer Series paper, and you're going to find that in the annual Stampin' Up! Catalog. If you don't already have a demonstrator and you're interested in purchasing Stampin' Up! Supplies, I would be happy to send you a complimentary copy of the annual catalog or the holiday catalog, which is where the So Santa stamp set comes from. Just leave me a comment below. I'm switching over to the 2-inch circle punch, and I'm going to punch out my pattern paper. We'll have one from each pattern that will mount on those shaded spruce circles. So I'll flip that over, and with my snail adhesive, I'll go ahead and add adhesive generously to the back. And then what I'll do now is I'm just going to layer these on top of the cardstock. Push those off to the side, and I've got a piece of Whisper White cardstock here for my cardstock base. I'm going to go ahead and fold that in half, and I'm grabbing my bone folder. I love this for that nice crisp edge on my card. And let's just set these out to get an idea of where they're going to be mounted. I'm going to go ahead and put this one on this end, and I'll work on this one on this side, and then I'll work on my fern here in the center. And then eventually what's going to happen is our image is going to become a focal point here on the front. I found by laying them out first, it gave me an idea where the positioning was going to go. So I'm going to go ahead and flip this one over, adding adhesive to the back. Here's my Santa. I'm going to go ahead and flip him over. I'm grabbing my dimensionals. These double-sided pieces of foam tape are going to allow me to create some elevation on the back of this image. It'll give it a little definition from the rest of the circles on the base of the card. And then we'll take off those paper backings. If you're having trouble getting those backings off, which I often do because I keep my nails short, take your fingernail and then press it in the center of your dimensional. That's going to help to lift the outside edge, making it a lot easier to get the paper off. So I'll go ahead and decide where I want him. I think I'm going to send him here between these 2 circles. And let's go ahead and add the greeting to the bottom of this card. So I'm going to come back to the Memento ink. And I've chosen Ho Ho Ho, Who Needs Snow. So I'm going to go ahead and ink that up. I always like to check to make sure I don't have it around my outside edges. And then I'm going to stamp that right here near the bottom underneath that image. Really an easy Christmas card. Definitely one you can make lots of. So we have the card we created today and the one I created before you joined me. You can head over to the link in the description of this video below. If you're here from YouTube, you'll be able to see pictures of this card. I am so glad that you joined me today, everyone. I look forward to seeing you next time. Have a great day.